think they're going to hand over the keys to him, and he's just going to go, and he's going to break the internet a few times with his dunks. And I'm going to go under for the Mavericks, though, because, again, Dennis Smith Jr., while he's a good player, he's also a rookie. So
right, yeah, I gave him a lot of hope, but I'm going a little bit under.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies, another fall from grace, 37.5 wins. And I think this team, sad to say, it's time to trade some people. It's time to just let go. Because while they still have their two best players for the last few years, with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, they lost two really big pieces in their whole identity.
Right.
And Zach Randolph, was a really, really good scorer for them for a long time, and then Tony Allen, which kind of embodied their whole whole culture. That
grind it out.
Yeah.
The grind father.
I don't think this team's going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be good, and they're going to be stuck in that. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be stuck around 40 wins, and I think they just move on from this, they need to change things up and kind of go a different direction. And it's a question of which one do you keep, Marc Gasol or Mike Conley? Because I think you need to trade one of them and try to build from there.
I could see. I totally see your point. I actually think they might still get into the playoffs. I think they're going to be.
They sneak in because they're the Grizzlies.
Mike Conley is the most underrated player in all of basketball.
He is. He's very, very good.
In my opinion, he is a top 20.
That's my only problem with trading him, because I don't think you'd get the exact value that he actually
because nobody cares about him. Yeah. But in my opinion, he's probably a top 20 player in the NBA. At worst, top 23, top 24. But him and Gasol, I think when you have two top 20 players, you're automatically in the running for a playoff spot. And I think that they've got... Chandler Parsons cannot be any worse than he was last year. So,
but even the problem is he even going to play?
That's true. But if he takes even a slight step up, they're basically just as good as they were last year. And JaMychal Green, who took a lot of minutes from Zach Randolph, is really good. I love their coach Fizdale. I think he just brings this kind of laissez-faire yet strict culture to Memphis. He embraces them who they are, and he still pushes them. So I like that. I really like the Tyreke Evans signing. I think that's going to help.
I love. There's these players that I are always been on my favorite players list for a long time, ever since they came into the league, and they're all bad, and they've all just not panned out. Trevor knows what list I'm talking about, but Tyreke Evans was on my list, and when he broke out in that rookie season, I thought he was just going to be the best player ever. Obviously not. And things have changed since then. He still can't shoot is his problem.
And he can't stay healthy. He
can't stay healthy.
But I think it's a bigger sign than people realize.
If he bought in, because he has all the length and athleticism, if he bought in and just become Tony Allen, he'd be really, really good.
Absolutely. He could be maybe not a great defender, but he could be a better version of Tony Allen when it comes to the offensive side of the ball.
But see, he could be, because defense is all just about wanting it.
Right.
There's nothing about defense that nobody can learn. There's just he has all the athleticism to become a Tony Allen type player, and he has all the length. He's ridiculous length. He's big for his position, and he could definitely be that, but he just doesn't want to. He's never wanted to play defense in his entire career. So
right. I'm going to take the over. I'm actually going kind of high over, honestly. I'm going 43-ish wins.
I'm going over too, but I think they're right around 40 and don't make the playoffs. All right, next up we've got the New Orleans Pelicans with 39.5 wins.
This seems awfully
high to me.
Yes.
Again, you said they've got two top 10 players.
Yep.
They do have two top 10 players, but the problem is they have nothing other than Drew Holiday around them.
And Tony Allen.
This team, if you fielded a team with the role players,
right? Yeah,
you win 10 games.
Well, a big thing is Rajon Rondo just got a sports hernia, I believe, 2 days ago. He's not going to be out for 6 weeks. So
even if Rajon Rondo was there, your lineup would be Rondo, Holiday,
Rondo,
Cunningham,
Holiday, probably Dante Cunningham, Cousins, and Davis.
Anthony Davis. And Rondo can't shoot, and he did really, really good in the playoffs last year, that one game that he was able to play. But there's always a thing in this league nowadays, if you cannot shoot as a point guard, you probably just can't play in the league. You need to learn how to shoot.
Right.
And he's just not, especially with two big guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they can both shoot threes, but primarily you want them inside the paint. And when your point guard who's trying to get them the ball can't shoot, they double off of him.
Right.
And
yeah, they're not going to flow that well. I think Cousins and Davis are still looking to put up 50 to 60 points every game.
I think one of these players, if not both, get traded.
I don't think Davis is. I say Cousins is traded by February.
But see, I don't think they will trade Davis, but I think they should.
I think they should too.
Because I think he's like, there's no way he's staying.
He will bring back the biggest haul of just about any player in the NBA.
Yeah. There's no way he's staying. And look at all of the other times, like look at the Carmelo Anthony trade with the Denver Nuggets and New York Knicks.
Yeah.
Just what you can get back sometimes makes you, like the Knicks weren't a playoff team, the Nuggets were for the next few years.
Right.
And what you can get back for someone like Anthony Davis, who's 24 years old still, you can get back a whole starting lineup.
Oh, absolutely. I would, if I were the Pelicans, I would highly consider trading Anthony Davis. I would.
And I think you target because the Wizards obviously want DeMarcus, and you could probably get back someone like Kelly Oubre, Otto Porter.
You could if they traded Cousins to the Wizards, and the Wizards could guarantee they could get Cousins re-signed, they could get Porter, Oubre, and probably a pick back. So that would be a good trade to consider. I think the other trade to consider is DeMarcus Cousins to Cleveland. You take back Jay Crowder, you take back Channing Frye, whose contract is expiring, and you get that Brooklyn pick.
I want the two towers thing to work, but
it might. Like I said, they'll score a lot. It
helps that they both can shoot threes.
Yes, it does. It might look like it works on paper, but it's not. Especially with the rest of the roster. No Rondo for 6 weeks. No Solomon Hill for a while. You're in deep trouble.
I mean, this looks like a roster that Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh had, like where there's just like nothing around them.
Right.
But the problem is you have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. This is not Dwayne.
And not two players that play the same position.
Yeah.
This looks like a team that you play 2K, you traded all your players for one superstar, and then you just minimum players the rest of the roster.
I'm a big believer in Boogie. I hope he wins one of these days so he can get that out of his mouth, but I don't think I'm going under for the Pelicans. I think they win like 35 games.
Yeah.
I think this goes bad for them, and then they have to trade Boogie just to kind of save face.
I feel like they're gonna hover around 500 for most of the year, and then February they're gonna trade Boogie Cousins and fall off. So I'm gonna say 38 wins. 30.
I think if they hover around 500, they would go for it.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't know what they would do to go for it. They have no trade pieces outside of Cousins or Davis. I think
that's true. I think
unless they have unless they're for sure making the playoffs, they're trading Cousins.
And it's not even like Drew Holiday is a great 3-point shooter either.
He's a great point guard. I like him a lot.
I like Drew Holiday a lot too. But you needed to sign someone other than Rajon Rondo because Rajon Rondo can't play the two. All right, moving on. We were both under. Or you were...
Yeah, I'm a little bit under.
A little under? Okay. We were both under for the Pelicans. Moving on to the Jazz. This is actually... losing Gordon Hayward was a big one. They're at 40.5 wins. This is kind of interesting because they lost an all-star.
They lost their best player.
They lost their best player, and there's still talk about them trying to like make the 8th spot in the playoffs.
Well, recent news: Dante Exum is not out for the year. Not like it's a huge loss, but that's
Dante Exum. When was the last time you?
But I mean, that's their starting point guard basically. I actually got Ricky Rubio. Well, that was one of their starting point guards last year. But with Rubio, Gobert, Rodney Hood, Joe Ingles, they'll be okay. I'm
actually going to shock you here. I'm going over, and I'm going quite a bit over for them.
Wow.
I like their team, and they didn't get any worse defensively. They're going to be still amazing defensive team, especially with this guy right here, Mr. Donovan Mitchell.
Yes. I like Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell's going to he's probably not going to win Rookie of the Year this year. He's not going to score that many points, but he's going to make a giant impact, I think, on this team with his defense. He's probably the best defender in the draft.
Yeah, I agree completely. Him or Josh Jackson.
He is like a Tony Allen type, but with a lot more potential. His floor right now is Tony Allen. Like, there's no way he can be worse than Tony Allen.
Yeah, no,
at this point.
I like the Jazz a lot. I like Quinn Snyder a lot. I'm rooting for them. I just don't know. For me, when you lose your best player, even if you replace them with quality players, if you lose your best player, it normally doesn't bode well the next season.
Yeah, well.
When you lose your two best players, you lost George Hill too.
Yeah, they did. Ricky Rubio. the only problem with this team is finding who's going to make up for those two scorers. Mm-hmm. And Rodney Hood has stepped up in the past and shown that he can score. Joe Ingles is a good player. They still have Joe Johnson, who can be. He's old now. He's getting up there, but he can still score a little bit. I think the whole thing lies on Derek Favors' health and where he is, because we know last year he wasn't really
relevant.
Yeah. So, but also Rudy Gobert's development, because if Rudy Gobert develops like a mid-range jump shot,
absolutely. Rudy Gobert is a great player. I love the him and Ricky Rubio combo, and I love Donovan Mitchell. I don't think you can lose your two best scorers.
I think this is the best defensive team in the league.
Yep, I would agree, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna translate overly well, especially when you're getting against these super teams that we're going to be getting to here shortly.
All right, but I'm going over. I think they win 45 wins.
I'm just gonna go a little bit under. I like the Jazz. I'm rooting for them, but I just don't buy it.
All right, the old Portland Trailblazers, 42.5 wins. I feel like everyone always goes under on these on the Trailblazers, and they always kind of upset people. But I think this is the year. I think this is the year that we finally go under, and they finally don't do anything. I mean, Damian Lillard is a really good player. CJ McCollum is a really good player. It's all going to lie on if Yusuf Nurkic was just a fluke for the last bit of last year, or if he's actually like the real deal. Because if Yusuf Nurkic is the Yusuf Nurkic of last year, then I think they go over 42.5 wins. But if he's not, if he falls back into that laziness and gains a little bit more weight, and I think they go under. And because Lillard and CJ McCollum, while they're really, really good players, they're both undersized guards and can't really. I say they can't really carry the team, but Damian Lillard's been carrying this team for 5 years now. So
no, this has been the hardest one for me because I've never been a believer in them.
But they always just smack in the face.
They kind of somehow end up winning 45 games. They just pull it out. I'm thinking that the 42.5 sounds about right. I think they're going to be a 500 team. I like that Vegas kind of put them around 500, which means they probably won't make the playoffs. More than likely, you never know. I guess with these winning records, I'm going to go just under at 42. 42. So, as much as I like Lillard and McCollum, they're great players. I love Zach Collins. He's not ready yet, but in 2 years, he's going to be a star.
A star?
Dude, he's going to be a star. His post game is like no other. So give me some Zach Collins in 2020.
What about Caleb Swanigan? He's already been good in the preseason.
He's a player. He's a player out of Purdue. He's a big guy. He can hit the three ball, which is really nice. I don't know how well he's gonna do in the NBA three, but for a guy that big, he can sure get up and down the floor, which is really shocking.
I'm actually looking at this. Other than Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they actually don't have that many great knockdown shooters. I think the season lies in the hands of Yusuf Nurkic and then Anthony Morrow resurrecting his career.
Anthony Morrow's looked good so far, but there's a lot left to be desired. Myers Leonard can hit the three ball pretty well, but I'm going slightly under. I'm going 42.
I'm going under. I think they win 40 to 42 games. All right. The Clippers with 43.5 wins. I think this is actually kind of low. They disrespected the Clippers a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I think so. This is funny because they lose one of the best point guards of all time, Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they might have if everyone stays healthy, they might have obviously gotten better.
Nope. No, they're losing a lot of games. I'm sorry.
The thing is, like, with Chris Paul, you just, like, we all know what Blake Griffin can do when he's able to run the offense his own way. You're going under for this?
I'm going under, yeah.
Based on Blake Griffin's health, or I think if Blake Griffin's healthy, they almost win. They probably win 50 games.
Wow. Yeah. No, there's a lot left to be desired.
I like this team.
I do not.
I think Patrick Beverley is a great pickup for them. They're gonna gain this defensive identity back.
They did a phenomenal job replacing Chris Paul with assets. That I'll give them. But you cannot lose Chris Paul,